Hi everyone, welcome to Embedded and IoT Enthusiast Learning Space. Today we will be discussing about MEMS gyroscope. So we will be basically having the overview what is gyroscope, what is the sensing principle for gyroscope, and what are the key applications we can have for gyroscope, and we can have some small demonstration using Raspberry Pi. Let's get started. Uh, this series is in continuation to the series we are having on sensors, MEMS sensor. So we already covered accelerometer, and we had good series. I mean, good episode where we discussed about the how we can play with the data, how we can do some statistical analysis of the Excel data. So now today we will be having on similar aspects. We'll be discussing about gyroscope. So what is MEMS gyroscope? So MEMS gyroscope, often we call it as a angular rate sensor or rotation sensor, which measures the angular velocity of its rotation in a reference frame along all three axes. So we can have x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and we can have rotation along all three axes. And MEMS gyroscope measures the same thing. So the problem with accelerometer is we can only measure the linear acceleration, right? And linear acceleration cannot help when we are having when we are moving, or when we are having rotation in especially in indoor navigation cases. So in that case, gyroscope and Excel combination can help to have 6 degree of freedom, where we can have linear acceleration as well as the angular acceleration along all three axes. And with this we can do indoor navigation, and there are a lot of applications we will be discussing. So angular velocity omega typically measured in radian per second or degree per second. Uh, yeah, and the integration of angular velocity that provides the orientation information along all three axes, which we call pitch, roll, and yaw. Okay, and other key aspect is, if you see gyroscope, many key MEMS manufacturing companies, they package the gyroscope in the same die along with accelerometer, because the combination of excellent gyroscope is giving more precision and giving more degree of freedom. So oftenly, if you heard of IMU, which is we call it as inertial measurement unit, and it can give you 9 degree of freedom when it is packaged along with Excel, magnetometer, and gyroscope. When if it is packaged with only Excel and gyroscope, you can have 6 degree of freedom. Okay, so what gyroscope measures? So we discussed it measures the angular velocity and z-axis. So around y-axis, and angular velocity around y-axis is referred as pitch, which is theta, and angular velocity around x-axis is referred as roll, uh, and which we call as phi, and then angular acceleration around z-axis is called as yaw, which we call it as psi. Now, I mean, if let's take an example. So this is one, this is a Raspberry Pi with the Sense hat, and now this is the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. Now, if I am rotating this Raspberry Pi around x-axis, so my role will change when I'm measuring the values from the gyroscope. And if I'm rotating this Raspberry Pi along y-axis in this direction, then I will get my pitch will vary. So it can go to 0 to 360 degree. And same when I do for Z axis, which is like coming out of the frame, right? Coming just perpendicular to the board. Then if I rotate around Z axis, then I will get my yaw will be changing. Okay, so this is the basic what the measurement part, what gyroscope measures. Now let's discuss about the gyroscope working principle. So MEMS gyroscope makes use of one phenomena that is called Coriolis effect, which states that if you are having a mass that is rotating with the angular velocity omega, and the mass is moving with the velocity v, it experiences a perpendicular force that is called Coriolis force, and which is equivalent of -2 multiplied by m, which is mass, and multiplied by omega with v. So omega is your angular velocity and v is your linear velocity. Due to the Coriolis force, this MEMS structure uh, causes a displacement. It gets displaced. There is a fixed electrode and there are some moving electrodes. So the moving electrodes get displaced because of the Coriolis force, and that result in the change in the capacitance. So capacitance is C equal to epsilon A over D. So if D is changing, D is the displacement, then it will result in the change in the capacitance, which is directly proportional to your Coriolis force. And with this effect, the MEMS gyroscope measures the angular acceleration along all three axes. Now let's discuss about what are the key gyroscope applications we are having in today's context. So consumer electronic appliances such as tablets, smartphones, smartwatches, game controllers, AR, VR headsets are extensively using gyroscope. So if you see in your smartphones, you have something like portrait landscape feature, which uses these angular rotation values to detect whether we are in a portrait mode or landscape mode. And then we can use gyroscope for at least if you see in smart watches, we can use gyroscope for pedometer application because we can basically measure the angular movement. And in game controller, it is heavily used because it's all about movement, and so how angular movement you are doing, you can measure it via gyroscope. And same, there are applications in AR and VR headsets. Then another key application is industrial robots. For indoor navigation, gyroscope is being used. Eventually, and even in medical space, the robotic surgery. So where a robotic arm is doing surgery, so there is also the gyroscope assistance is used. And optical image stabilization. So optical image stabilization, if you see all these cameras, so the image stabilization, because we need to do the tilt compensation. So tilt compensation is being done using the feedback from gyroscope. And I discussed IMU. So at least in drones, aircrafts, and other unmanned UAVs. So gyroscope, accelerometer, magnetometer, barometer, they are extensively used along with GPS. Now let's discuss about the key gyroscope vendor that are providing the MEMS gyroscope. So there are many, but I have listed the key vendors and the popular gyroscope series or so ST Microelectronics has a lot of gyroscope sensors, which is LSM 6D series. So it has DS3, S3H, US, and S0. And there is another one is like ISM 330 DLC. So this is having 9 degree of freedom. And Bosch SensorTech has BMX, BMI 2 series that can be used. And Invens is also one of the key vendor, which is having MPU 9250 and ICM 20600. So these are few popular or key sensor parts or sensor, what I say, key sensors. So these are few key sensors that are being used for consumer applications. Now let's discuss about what parameters we need to consider while we are selecting or why we want while we are selecting any gyroscope in our BOM for any application. So there are few parameters. So I have listed only the key parameters that we need to consider. So one is the bias. So bias is like what is the IMU or the gyroscope output when the input is 0. So input is 0 means it's static. So if the device is static, there is no angular motion happening in all three axes, what is the value we are getting? So that will be the constant bias, uh, or it can be fluctuating. It can be spread as a Gaussian distribution. And next thing is the sensitivity. So what is the sensitivity of the gyroscope? So the sensitivity is basically what is the degree per second per LSB. So we have A to D and A to D converter. So the resolution of ADC gives more granularity with respect to the like degree per second. So the relationship between the one LSB to DPS is basically measured as sensitivity. So sensitivity is another factor which we need to consider while selecting any gyroscope. Next thing is the range. What is the full scale range? So full scale range is like from a degree per second point of view, what is the measurement range of a gyroscope that we are evaluating? And other thing is the zero rate level. So zero rate level defines the zero rate level when there is no angular velocity applied to it is equivalent to the bias. Then sensitivity change per temperature. So at room temperature, what is the sensitivity? And as the temperature is increasing or decreasing, what is the sensitivity? So if it is highly sensitive to temperature, then we should not consider that. And the system bandwidth. So system bandwidth is like what is the bandwidth? It can bandwidth of the frequency it can provide. So that helps in selecting the a different post processing. If you are having a low pass filter, so based on the bandwidth we can design things, and based on the bandwidth we can set the sampling rate. And other thing is the non-linearity. So it is just it defines the maximum error between the gyroscope output and the best fit straight line in the percentage with respect to the full scale range. So if it is non-linear, then that is something. If more non-linearity means that we should avoid, or we need to take. So we need to select which is having less non-linearity, or it is more linear. Next key aspect is the power. So what are the different sleep modes or the operating modes it has, and what is the power consumption in each mode? So that should be one of the criteria for selection, because these are some of those. Because if you see, these are always on or always aware sensing based applications where you will be always powering them. Because the consideration is like they should be having a robust sleep mode. So if there is no motion detected, it can go to the low power mode, and if they sense any motion, then they can have the operating mode, and then the post processing of the data can start based on the design. So these are some of the parameters we need to consider while we are designing any product and selecting a gyroscope sensor for that particular use case.
Now let's have a quick demonstration using Raspberry Pi. In this example case, I am having Raspberry Pi with WaveShare Sense Hat. And in this case, Raspberry Pi is on a flat surface, not exactly flat surface, still slightly inclined. Now, if you see, the pitch and roll are approximately doesn't have much bias, but yaw is having bias. So it means the z-axis is already tilted with some specific orientation. That's the reason we have y-axis having the larger bias, because it's not mounted on a flat surface as of now. Now, if I move this along different axes, you will be seeing the angle will be changing. Now, in this case, now you will see the yaw changing. Now, if I rotate around z-axis, now in this case, yaw will change. If I rotate around x-axis, then roll will be changing. And if I rotate around y-axis, the pitch will be changing. So now what we can do is we can basically log this data. And then we can analyze the data, and this we can use it for activity recognition, fault detection, and we can have our own post processing algorithms to use this raw data and calculate the gesture. Also, you can have machine learning algorithms using these sensor data. There are data set that is available to have human activity recognition, free fall detection, or any other activity recognition. So you can use a smartphone data set that is available, and you can basically check the accuracy of your model. And there is a lot of literature available. There are a lot of research paper available. So there is one. I'm just showing one example. So there is one paper, a study on machine learning algorithms for fall detection and movement classification. Now, if you see, so first you need to get the training data, so which is like the data set, and you basically do the feature extraction. You basically have the reduced feature set, and then you have a classifier model. And whatever you get the data from the end device for your activity recognition, you basically do the real-time classification using the classifier model. And once the movement is classified, then you basically do what you want to do based on the detection. So if you have identified the classification movement is defined as stationary, or like classified as stationary or moving or highly moving. So based on that, you can do any action on based on that. The action mapping with the classification, and based on the classification with the real data, you will be updating your model to have more accuracy of your classifier model. And if there is a false classification, then it basically will rectify the classification and will also give feedback to the classifier model. So there are a lot of machine learning aspects now using neural network or all these predictions. So basically these are also it's a good direction. So what I will do is I will basically create a separate tutorial on this, so that we can basically deep dive into these aspects.